Hi everyone, it's Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield here from Transport Evolved. Happy Monday. I hope you're well and you had a good weekend. Thank you to the more than 10,000 people who watched TEN from Friday. I can't believe it. 10,000 views in just 3 days. And while we're on the subject, we're just about to cross over 10,000 subscribers on the Transport Evolved channel. And I've made a separate little video about that, which you should go and watch if you haven't already after you've finished watching this one. What do I want to talk to you about today? Well, I want to talk to you about a piece of news that dropped on Friday last week while I was busy editing said TEN. You see, on Friday, Colin Langam, UBS auto analyst, sent a note to investors warning that things are not looking very good for Tesla in the long term. The reason? Well, it's not to do with the cars, but rather to do with the charging network, specifically Tesla's Supercharger network, which he claims Tesla is going to have to spend $8 billion on in order to make supercharger stations as ubiquitous and as easily accessible as gas stations. So what we've essentially got here is an auto industry analyst working for a bank who doesn't really understand how the auto industry for electric vehicles works. He might understand the conventional auto industry very well, but when it comes to electric vehicles and the specific use scenarios for those vehicles, he doesn't understand. You see, Langam seems to believe that Tesla, and specifically its supercharger network, needs to have the same availability and ubiquity as petrol stations before Tesla can make significant inroads into the market share for vehicles. Now, if we just put aside for a fact that Tesla's already making significant inroads into the luxury car segment, outselling everybody else in the US and pretty much the rest of the world, we need to tackle the thought, the conceit that supercharger access needs to be as ubiquitous as a petrol station or a gas station. You see, Langam said, based on analysis from UBS Labs, that the average Tesla driver is around 31 minutes away from their nearest supercharger station. And he said that most Americans live between 4 and 5 minutes away from a petrol station. So, by his definition, it's easier and more convenient to own a petrol car. What he's completely forgetting here is that electric vehicles can refuel at home using a standard household outlet if they absolutely need to, or a dedicated charging station installed at the home the same time that you buy the car. And there's no need to leave the home to refuel. Your car sits in the garage while you're asleep, and it's the perfect time to refuel. We don't need to supercharge our cars every day in order to get to work and back. And that's before you even consider the distance that a Tesla can travel between supercharger visits. Now, I know people who have Tesla Model S who rarely visit superchargers because they just charge at home. Conversely, I know plenty of people who use the supercharger network all the time and don't charge at home because the supercharger network is free, whereas charging at home isn't. And I've got to be honest with you, those people are causing some of the problems that Tesla's experiencing with its supercharger network. It's one of the reasons why Tesla changed its supercharger access policy at the beginning of this year. It used to offer free supercharging for life for all Tesla Model S and Model X cars. But after the start of the year, anyone who purchased a brand new Tesla Model S or Model X would discover that their car came with a limit. They would have 400 kilowatt hours free per year, and they'd have to pay a credit towards the supercharging that they used over that. Now, okay, I'm going to be honest with you here. There are going to be people, as electric vehicles gain more mainstream market share, that don't have off-street parking and don't have garages where they can charge their cars at night. And for those people, yes, they're going to have to rely on public charging infrastructure to make their car work. And I'm sure there are already people around the world with Model S and Model X electric cars who park their cars on the street overnight and have to visit a supercharger to top off because they have no other charging infrastructure. Now, I think I've already made a really good argument for why Langam's case is wrong. I mean, after all, he says that Tesla needs to invest in 30,000 additional supercharger stations across the US, worth $8 billion, before it reaches the same kind of ubiquity as a gas station. Now, I've already said that most Tesla owners, like most electric car owners, will charge their cars at home overnight. So visiting a supercharger is only something they do when they're making a long distance trip. Now, the other thing here is that Tesla already knows where all of its cars travel in the US. In fact, it knows where all of its cars travel in the world, and therefore it knows where supercharging stations are needed. You see, when Tesla started its autopilot project, it tracked the entire Tesla fleet as part of a way of figuring out where its cars were traveling and also to help it train its autonomous vehicle system. It used real-world driving data from Tesla drivers to help train its artificial intelligence. So Tesla knows which routes are traveled more frequently by its customers and which routes are not traveled frequently. And that helps Tesla plan where its supercharger stations need to go. So Tesla's not just looking at a grid and putting a pin in a map and going, let's put a supercharger there. Tesla puts superchargers where it knows its customers are traveling and it knows its customers need more charging. But it doesn't all have to be superchargers. It can also be destination charging. But if you've got a 20 kilowatt onboard charger, as most Tesla owners have, and you've got a 20 kilowatt destination charger, then you can charge your car's battery pack in between 4 and 5 hours depending on the configuration of your car. And that's more than enough for most people. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're traveling to a hotel for a wedding, family members getting married, and you're jumping in your Tesla Model S and you're driving to the hotel. You're going to be at the hotel 4 or 5 hours before you turn around and go home. That's even if you're not spending the night. Of course, if you're spending the night, you've got even longer to let the car charge. In that time, your car can get another 200 plus miles of range while you're enjoying the wedding festivities. There's no need to visit a supercharger because your car is charging while you're parked and it's not doing anything else. So this analysis is completely false, and it's just spreading shockwaves and fear amongst people who really don't understand how electric vehicles work. I'd like to finish with one final thought on the Tesla Supercharger stations. Now, someone's going to watch this and go, yes, but Model 3 is coming to market and Tesla's going to have to put a whole load of supercharging stations in to cope with the Model 3 influx. Yes, it's true. Tesla is going to have to expand its supercharger network, and Tesla's already published plans to do so this year in readiness for the Model 3 launch this fall. But it's not going to be to the tune of $8 billion. Tesla's recently enacted restrictions on supercharger use for new owners will help that. But for Model 3, it appears that Tesla's only going to let people supercharge when they're significantly far away from home. And because Tesla knows where all the cars are at every point, it can help manage and predict load for supercharger sites before cars even arrive at the location. And that's very important too. If Tesla has enough superchargers in enough high traffic corridors, it can actually divert cars to stations where it knows there's going to be a free supercharger, rather than make people wait at one of the more popular ones. Have I missed anything out? Do you agree with Langam's analysis, or do you agree with my rebuttal? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, as well as like, comment and subscribe. And if you liked what you saw today, please do consider supporting us through our Patreon crowdfunding campaign. I'll leave a link in the description below, as well as a clickable link at the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another video, but until then, I'm Nikki Gordon Bloomfield. Enjoy the rest of your day and keep evolving.